This dream vacation ended in such a nightmare.
Where's Anna? Everybody on that ship is a suspect.
How did she die? How did she literally slip through the cracks?
Family protects family.
Wrapped mummy style in a blanket and stuffed under a twin bed, it's a floating crime scene.
I want to know, what are his demons?
Do not care about his feelings. I care about her dead body.
FBI tracked down another person with looking for the DNA of another male on board that cruise ship. This is as shocking as it gets. We didn't see it coming. I didn't anyway. We have Anna Keaptainner, 18 years old, sharing a cabin with her stepbrother. They both go into the cabin. Only one comes out, and it's not Anna. Now the defense for Timothy Hudson is trying to prove that it could have been somebody else. And according to what came out of the detention hearing, there is a possibility that Anna Keaptainner was involved sexually with somebody on the ship. So much so that the FBI tracked this male minor. They're calling him a mystery minor, but they tracked down this guy and got his DNA so that they could compare the DNA from this minor against what was found in the kit. This was done before the arrest of Anna Keaptainer's stepbrother, Timothy Hudson. After the results came in, the FBI was convinced they knew where to go, and the arrest of Timothy Hudson occurred after the exclusion of the male minor, the mystery DNA, okay? That's the big, huge reveal, but there's more. At this hearing that took place, this detention hearing, a 145-page transcript wrote down other parts of a potential defense plan that will go all the way back to the mechanical asphyxiation, the death of Anna Keaptainner, and how it was done. That's also going to be discussed at length at trial as the defense tries to prove some other dude did it. It's not difficult to understand because you have two individuals that go into the room about the same time, and only one ever comes back out alive. The defense has an uphill battle, but they're going to bring everything out of the woodwork to prove that it could have been somebody else.
Joe Scott Morgan, weigh in.
Nancy, I got to heard about this new development, which I got to tell you, I'm gobsmacked, as my friends in Great Britain say. I did not see this coming. One of the things they're going to think about here, or that I was thinking about, is they're talking about somebody else. Are we dealing with what's referred to as commingled DNA? And so if you do a kit, and I know that over the course of your career, you've had cases that unfortunately involve gang. And so with a gang, many times you will have commingled DNA, and it's a matter of separating these out. That's not what's going on, because they're saying that the swab that was taken from within Anna, came back with a sample, and this is the FBI saying this, came back with a sample that ties back to the stepbrother. I guess one of the big questions is, what other DNA did they find, and where was it harvested from? At autopsy, an exam, when we do an external examination on a body, particularly in a violent sex attack, we're going to swab all over the body. Okay, we're going to take samples from various locations, and one of the primary locations, of course, here is going to be this idea along the neck, this specific area where they keep using the term armbar, armbar, armbar. So if somebody is putting direct pressure onto the neck, particularly if they're doing it with a bare arm, you can expect that you could probably find touch DNA along this area. You can find sweat that doesn't come from Anna. You can find hair that doesn't come from Anna. There's any number of these surfaces. But Nancy, this is one of the things that really, really concerns me about this case. And that is the collection of evidence and how secure it has been. One of the things that has come to light that I was absolutely shocked by is that there was a kit that was performed on board this vessel. I want to know who performed this kit. What were their qualifications to gather this information? And more importantly, if they performed a kit on her, who protected this? Who protected this kit along the way? You know, and I know. How many times have we been into evidence rooms? How many times have we been to the medical examiner's office? And when we take evidence, it's locked down in a secured area. I don't think they have evidence lockers on board cruise ships, Nancy. And I know for a fact that these individuals that pull security details on cruise ships, they're not forensic scientists. So did an FBI agent come on board and do a kit? And if so, how are they qualified to do a kit? Because this is generally something that is done either by a sane nurse, sexual assault nurse examiner, who are highly qualified practitioners, or it's done back at the medical examiner's office in cases of homicides. I want to know who had their hands on this kit. And that's going to be a big question. I mean, you got it. You know, and I know that any defense attorney worth their salt is going to bring this up. So the other question is, why could they have not waited until they got back to Miami-Dade? If they secured her body, if they had her in a body bag, I was hoping that they kept the body wrapped. I don't know that they did. You know, she was covered. Did they remove the cover? What did they do with that? How well secured was that? Because that could potentially have trace and DNA on it as well. How did they preserve that out at sea? Okay. And whose hands did that make it into? Is that why this is taking so much time? Why didn't they not wait until they got back to Miami-Dade to go to the Miami-Dade medical examiner's office with her body and secure it there and have that team, who is highly qualified to collect all of this evidence? There are more questions here at this point in time than answers. We know that this was an intimate, violent attack, so much so that even in this report, Nancy, they're talking that Anna's eardrums were bilaterally burst. That's a tremendous amount of pressure. It takes a lot of anger. We're going to find out at the end of the day how much evidence was collected and also how it was treated after it was in fact collected.
This little girl was a high school cheerleading star, a star in so many ways. She had all A's. She was already set to go into the military, had already spoken to recruiters, had her mind made up to serve her country. Now she's dead on a cruise ship. You know, maybe I'm the crazy one here. Straight out to Susan Hendricks joining us. You know her well, investigative journalist. Isn't it true, Susan Hendricks, that at first we were all told this little girl died 11/8, but now we're learning they even had the date wrong by 24 hours. She died 11/7, around 11:17 a.m. Isn't that true?
Yeah, and the cruise ship docked back when it was supposed to on Saturday. So we're learning now, you're right, 11:17 on Friday. We're trying to piece together exactly what happened, but it seemed like she loved cruises. She was excited to go. They were looking forward to it. How did she end up dead, and what happened to her?
Well, I'll tell you, the FBI on it now. That's never a good thing when you have the FBI picking through your trash and going over your movements. Straight out to death investigator, professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University. Joe Scott, thank you for being with us. It's a death investigator's nightmare. It's a floating crime scene. How did the little girl die? Who was with her? What time did she die? Not just the COD, cause of death, the manner of death. Those guests, over 5,000 of them on this particular cruise ship, have scattered to the four corners of the earth. They weren't all even from the U.S. So what do you do first?
Well, you try to get access to the area where she was actually living in, that cabin, bits of evidence that are contained therein, all the stuff that was in her baggage. But here's one of the problems, Nancy. Once that stuff is removed out of there, you lose all context for the rest of the investigation. Here's another problem. We don't have an established timeline. You had mentioned earlier, has she ingested anything? What kind of meals did she take on board? Who was she hanging out with on the ship? Was there anybody that could have slipped her something at some point in time? Did she have access to alcohol when she's in international waters? So all of this works out to be just an absolute nightmare scenario.
Joining us now, Spencer Ehrenfeld. He is the lawyer for the family of Dulcie White, another woman that dies at sea. He is known as the cruise ship lawyer, and for a reason. He takes on these seemingly impossible cases and actually wins them, not on behalf of the cruise ship, on behalf of the families. Spencer, I wouldn't trust a cruise ship investigator as far as I could throw them. Not that they're evil people. I mean, for Pete's sake, they don't even have the right day of death, much less time of death. We had to get a medical examiner in the States to give me a time of death. I mean, really? If they can't even do that, did you hear Joe Scott Morgan? He's the professor of forensics, describing what all has been lost because of their ineptness. Spencer, this is so wrong. And people wonder why I'm so angry and upset. I'm not mad at the investigator who doesn't know what she are doing. I'm mad because this is the only thing left that we can do for this little girl. This is it, is to solve her case, Spencer.
Well, probably, Nancy, and I agree with you, the most important evidence for me would be the surveillance video. These cruise lines are wired like casinos from bow to stern with high-definition CCTV covering all the common areas, covering the elevators, covering the dining rooms, the pool, the nightclub. And my question is, where's the CCTV? In my experience, and I've sued Carnival thousands of times, they will either not have all the CCTV or fail to preserve it, which is why I think the FBI boarding the ship the minute it got to Port Miami was essential for the preservation of the CCTV. They're going to get it off the ship, and the FBI will take possession of it before Carnival destroys it, loses it, tapes over it. I think the cameras are going to tell a lot of the story of what happened to her.
Straight out to Robert Crispin, private investigator, joining us on location at Port of Miami, where the cruise ships depart. Tell me how difficult it's going to be, Robert Crispin, to put this case. It's like Humpty Dumpty. All the king's horses and all the king's men could never put Humpty together again. Why is it so difficult to put a case together when A, you have the wrong time of death, and B, every passenger on that floating crime scene is gone?
Yeah, Nancy, forget about that. As soon as he came back here to the Port of Miami, every single one of those passengers got off and they went to off corners of the world, out of the country, all around the U.S. So as an investigator, the FBI is going to have an issue of trying to figure out who was with Anna, who was the last person with her, who went to her cabin with her, because it was already reported that she went back earlier in the night because she didn't feel good. That's a problem.
Sydney Sumner joining us, Crime Stories investigative reporter. So the maid goes in and discovers the body stuffed under the bed. Could you describe how the maid found the body, in what condition?
That's right, Nancy. The maid coming to clean the room, coming to remake the bed, is the one who notices this pile of life jackets and this sheet stuffed under the bed, and that's when she discovers Anna's body. Now, that's where things get unclear. So we know we have this time of death, 11:17 a.m. on November 7th. Witnesses say that the maid came in around 11. That's when security showed up at this cabin and guarded it for the rest of the cruise. So that's where there's this big discrepancy.
Anna's father, stepmother, and other family members join her for a 6-day Carnival cruise to the Western Caribbean. After their last day at port in Cozumel, Mexico, Anna heads back to her room early, telling family members she isn't feeling well during dinner. The next morning, Anna doesn't join her family for breakfast and isn't answering her door. Her family begins a frantic search for the teen on the 14-deck, 4,000-passenger ship.
Sydney Sumner, what is happening?
Nancy, we've learned through the court documents related to this custody disagreement that the feds are eyeing Anna's stepbrother as a suspect in her death. So Anna's dad, Christopher Keaptainner, just married Chantel Hudson, who is divorced from Thomas Hudson. So Thomas and Chantel share 3 children, 2 of which are still minors. So the older of those 2 minor children, Anna's stepbrother, is alleged to have taken part in her death. Now, the father is trying to get custody of their 9-year-old daughter and is also trying to figure out what's going on with his son.
Spencer Ehrenfield joining us. He is the cruise ship lawyer and has handled a myriad of cruise-related accidents and deaths. Spencer, I want to talk about not just evidence from the body of this little girl, but digital forensic evidence. You have been on a million cruise ships investigating cases. It's like being in a Vegas casino, for Pete's sake, more than NASA. Every square inch is covered like you're walking through LaGuardia, for Pete's sake. Everything's covered with surveillance video, and the keys to the room are digital. They're a key card. Nobody's using the old skeleton key anymore, which is valuable evidence. Explain.
So they have like a black box that's connected to the doors of these cruise lines that will show you who entered, because each passenger has their own card, what time they entered, and what time the door shut. They will also be able to tell what time the door opened. And all you have to do, Nancy, is sync that with the high definition CCTV that they have of that hallway, and you'll be able to time precisely when she entered the cabin and when each and every other member of the family, as well as the cabin steward who apparently found her, entered the cabin. How long did it take him once he was in the cabin to exit the cabin? All those things are very easily determined by CCTV, assuming Carnival still has it. And this is why I'm thrilled that the FBI boarded the ship so quickly, because it prevented Carnival from getting rid of that CCTV footage that they often do in many of the cases that I'm investigating and prosecuting right now.
In the last hours, Anna Keaptainner, the teen girl cheerleader going to that Titusville Christian school, already had her future mapped out, very organized, planning to join the military and ultimately be a police officer in the K-9 unit. That little girl, the one scrubbed in sunshine. Let's see a picture of Anna, please. There you go. That's Anna Keaptainner. She's dead. Yes, the first photo was her experimenting with blonde hair. She's dead, stuffed under a cruise ship bed, wrapped in a blanket, mummy style, we've been told, and then with life jackets crammed on top of her to hide her body. Listen.
Anna Keaptainner's death on board a Carnival cruise ship now ruled a homicide, her autopsy stating she was mechanically asphyxiated by another person or persons. The medical examiner finds 2 bruises on the side of Anna's neck. She may have been held in a bar hold, meaning her attacker held an arm across her neck.
It is a floating crime scene, and now, Robert Crispin, that we learn it was a mechanical strangulation. I'm going to go to Dr. Kendall Krause in just one moment. The crime scene. When you are living in close quarters with someone, sharing a small, cramped space, the DNA processing of that scene becomes even more vital. I mean, it's like a petri dish of DNA, and now it's all gone. Can you refresh everyone's recollection about the cruise ship investigators that first processed that scene?
What's critical about this homicide is going to come down to DNA. It's going to come down to DNA and what the medical examiner says in the autopsy, the cause of death, et cetera, et cetera. More importantly, did the victim fight? DNA under her nails. Did she scratch the suspect? In all of these cases, Nancy, these victims fight for their life. They're clawing. DNA is under their nails. of the suspect who's trying to kill them. This is going to be very, very, very important, critical evidence to go towards an arrest, an indictment, or something to get this guy arrested and put in jail. It's going to take a little bit of time now because obviously we don't have a confession, because if we had a confession, he'd already be in jail.
Hey, Crispin.
Yeah.
I learned that Anna was feeling badly. She's felt poorly. It was because of her braces were hurting her. And she asked to go back to the room early during dinner. She went back, but then she got dressed up and re-emerged. And what we're learning is she had on this cute little outfit, but in one report, Crispin, just one, it said Anna was wrapped only in a blanket with life vest stuffed over her. Only in a blanket, which led me to believe that she was naked under the blanket. That's yet to be borne out. But if that is true, or if she was partially clothed, why else would she have been partially clothed, stuffed under a twin bed, or naked, wrapped in a blanket, unless there had been a sex attack? What I'm saying is, just because there's not DNA, just because there's not sperm on or in her body, does not mean there was not a sex attack.
Correct. And if you go back and you listen to one of the statements that was made from Anna's ex-boyfriend's father, that the stepson had climbed on top of her one night when she was in bed.
You know, I know that Project Innocence and the Poverty Law Institute and all the defense bars are going to get mad when I say this, but they can just chew on this. When you don't know a horse, look at his track record. Listen.
She just didn't feel safe around him. She's scared to tell anybody because she was scared that he would do something to her.
Joshua, too, says Anna's close relationship with her stepbrother was one-sided. The 16-year-old is obsessed with Anna and made her uncomfortable with romantic advances. He once even caught him trying to climb into Anna's bed while the two were on FaceTime, Anna already asleep.
He says, "Dad, I tried to tell the parents that this was happening, and they didn't want to believe me." He's like infatuated, attracted to her like crazy. He's always wanted to date her.
Chris doesn't realize it's his fault. This whole thing is his fault. If he would have taken the warnings that Anna's ex-boyfriend gave him, then she would still be here. So keep that in mind, Christopher. I blame you.
That from Inside Edition and at JustMom1984 on TikTok. That's Anna's bio mom. So explain to me, Shannon Butler, investigative reporter, WFTV. According to what we're learning from her ex-boyfriend, Joshua, too, it's not just what she said happened. He was on FaceTime with her. They were FaceTiming late at night. Anna fell asleep, but the FaceTime was still going. And he, according to reports, saw the 16-year-old stepbrother crawl on top of her. He saw it. It's not just her saying that happened to her. And then he goes on to state she did not feel safe around him. She was scared to tell anybody because she thought he would, quote, do something to her.
That is what he said to reporters here. He also told his dad that, and his dad told reporters that there was always this fear Anna had of her stepbrother, but it wasn't just something that she talked about. The boyfriend said he knew about it, and then he saw that when it happened on FaceTime and even said, like, get off of her.
And I was on FaceTime with her, and she was laying down, and the brother tried to go on top of her. And
you saw that?
Yeah. And
then, how did she react to that?
I was like, what the hell are you doing in the room, you know? Then he got scared and like ran away. And I heard his footsteps like running through the house, you know, because he got caught. That was my first love. She was the best that ever happened to me. And I'd even walk to her work to see her, you know, for like 5-10 minutes. She complained about him being uncomfortable, or her being uncomfortable around him, because of the fact that he tried to go on top of her in the bed And because of that, she tried to go and stay the night at her friend's house and to dodge the staying the night at her house.
That is from the Space Coast Rocket Instagram. Shannon Butler joining us, WFTV. You've got ongoing divorce custody proceedings. And in those, the mom of the teen stepbrother files an emergency hearing saying, I'm not answering any questions. Nobody's taking the stand because it could hurt my son's right to a fair trial. A fair trial on what? Obviously, the Anna Keaptainner murder.
Yeah, that was the first we had heard about the stepbrother being a suspect. We didn't get any of that from investigators, but then you go into this, separate court case, and that's how that information was revealed. And that's what kind of started everybody now asking these questions. And if you listen to the family members about that brother, they talk about how he was very, very distraught over this, how he had to be hospitalized, the behavior.
Wait. The teen stepbrother was distraught, correct?
That's what they say.
Okay. Was he distraught about Anna being dead or about him being a suspect?
That's still the question. But the family was very, very clear that he was very, very upset after this happened and had to be hospitalized.
Spencer Ehrenfeld joining us, the cruise lawyer. He's handled so many cruise ship cases. Spencer, we were told that the teen brother was so distraught that he had to go in the hospital. Then he was miraculously released from the hospital. He wasn't wearing a Band-Aid. He wasn't on crutches. Why was he in the hospital? Was that a delay tactic? Then we were told he was, quote, so upset he, quote, couldn't talk to FBI investigators. Sounds a lot to me like invoking your right to remain silent.
100%, Nancy. And it also a destruction of evidence, because when he went to the hospital, I'm sure that he changed his clothes. I don't know what happened to his clothes. I'm sure he was cleaned, and his fingers and what's under his nails and all sorts of things that would have been invaluable evidence to the investigators and prosecutors in this case were probably lost by that trip to the hospital. It really interrupted the chain of custody of a lot of evidence that would have been left on him, including potentially bodily fluids and things that may have been on his hands or on his clothes.
You know, Spencer Ehrenfeld, you are my own personal chamber of horrors. I hadn't even thought of that yet. The fact that he goes straight into a hospital setting and his clothes could be God knows where. Robert Crispin, that's important. I want to see his clothes. I want to look for microscopic evidence. I want to look for blood. I want to look for sperm. I want to look for her blood. And yes, I want to see his underwear for obvious reasons. It's probably all gone, Robert.
It probably is, Nancy. Hence the long delay before the ship got back to locking down the crime scene, locking down the people, their clothing, not letting anyone go anywhere, intermingle, talk to people, separating everybody. It's a recipe for disaster.
And of course, the cruise ship is vehemently denying that the teens had alcohol. Of course, the family is stunned. They've got Anna dead, stuffed under a bed. They've got the 16-year-old, reportedly a target. Listen.
He was a good student.
Played soccer.
He played soccer, very quiet young man. He had demons, I think, in his past, and he was trying to deal with those.
Barbara and Jeffrey Keaptainner are shocked Anna's 16-year-old stepbrother is being eyed as the suspect in her murder, describing them as two peas in a pod and very close. She says the teen was distraught when he learned Anna's body was found and couldn't speak during an initial interview with FBI agents.
He was an emotional mess. He couldn't even speak. He couldn't believe what had happened.
From our friends at ABC. Summertime expenses stacking up fast. For many, the only option is swiping that credit card, leaving you trapped in a cycle of high interest debt. But go to American Finances, talk to them. They look at your current debt and can show you how your home equity can work for you. Imagine rolling that high interest debt into one very manageable monthly payment. No upfront fees, zero pressure from salary-based consultants. Why is that important? Because they're not on a contingency fee. They're not salespeople that are going to get a cut if they sell you their services. On average, their customers are saving $800 a month, not $800 in all, $800 a month. Start today, and you might be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. American Financing, America's home for home loans. 866-888-0344. 866-888-0344. Or simply go online to americanfinancing.net/Nancy. americanfinancing.net/Nancy. And good luck. To Michelle Spitzer joining us, investigative reporter, USA Today. Now, when he was rushed for psychiatric evaluation, wasn't that the first time the FBI detectives tried to speak with him? He suddenly had to go to the hospital because he couldn't remember what happened?
We know that the FBI did meet the cruise ship when it docked in Port in Miami. And yes, according to court documents, he has told his mother he does not remember anything from what happened on the cruise ship.
Chantel Hudson tells her ex over text that their son just keeps repeating over and over he can't remember anything. Chris Keaptainer's parents say the same thing. The 16-year-old claims he cannot remember anything and is clearly distraught.
Why am I learning all of these facts from a seemingly unrelated custody argument? The family dynamic lands this very, very blended family in court, fighting over custody of the younger children. Straight out to investigative journalist Susan Hendricks. Why am I having to learn all of this from a seemingly unrelated custody fight?
Absolutely. And the infighting, it's been going on a while, and we're getting information from this through that, as you said. And where is the outrage? The suspect's older brother, it stood out to me that he said he was put in a chokehold. So is that where I'm guessing that the suspect learned to do that? But you're right, Nancy. We are only hearing details through this somewhat unrelated hearing. It's just very complicated. I feel, you know what's missing? The outrage of this 18-year-old girl, Anna.
Yeah, everybody was sitting in court like they were all on sedatives talking about custody issues when Anna, we believe, is either nude or partially nude, dead, wrapped mummy style in a blanket and stuffed under a twin bed. Sydney, how long was it the parents didn't see Anna on the cruise and didn't check on her?
16 hours that Anna was not checked on, seen alive, before her body is found, brutally stuffed under that bed, hidden, covered with these life jackets.
Susan Hendricks, do we have any idea where they were while Anna was stuffed dead under that twin bed?
Well, we heard this also at the emergency custody hearing. Anna's stepmom, Chantel, said that she went in her room at 7 p.m., that she was tired. She was there for the night, went to sleep. But again, we don't know what she was doing all day. She asked about gambling. She said that Anna was 18, so she assumed she was in the casino. But again, no supervision. And guess what, Nancy? She was asked during this, Chantel on the stand, is it true that they stayed across the hall, all of them together? Her stepbrother, her biological brother, and her. And she said, yes, it was recommended by the travel agent.
Oh, yeah. I heard she tried to blame the travel agency. Okay, how are we finding out all of this information? Listen.
A family court hearing regarding Thomas Hudson's emergency petition for custody of the 9-year-old daughter he shares with Chantel Hudson reveals new details in Anna Keaptainer's murder. Hudson tells the court he's concerned for Brooke's safety under Chantel Hudson and Christopher Keaptainer's care due to their failure to supervise their children during the cruise Thomas didn't want the children to take. Chantel Hudson testifies her 16-year-old son is staying with relatives after his release from psychiatric observation.
Oh my goodness. Let me understand something. Wait a minute. Susan Hendricks, The judge in this hearing confirmed the teen stepbrother is the main suspect in Anna's chokehold asphyxiation. That's murder. There's no two ways around it. Chokehold asphyxiation, her neck covered in bruises. And his punishment is, ow! He has to go live with relatives? That's the punishment?
Yeah, even Chantel and the suspect's mom said that he was the only one seen in and out. It's like they're all in agreement that, yeah, he's the main suspect. Why isn't he arrested? He's staying with her relatives. Just staying there, chatting on the phone.
Okay,
still.
You know what? I don't know how to say this without my head exploding, but he's a suspect in a brutal murder of a little teen cheerleader who's stuffed under the twin bed. Nobody knows she's missing for nearly a day. Nobody checks on her. There she is. He's a suspect, and he is, quote, sent to live with relatives. That's his punishment. Might as well just sit him in the corner. Let's jump to the fact that this teen stepbrother suspect skipped his daily drug cocktail, and he missed, I believe, 2 days that he was prescribed. And now she's dead. To Dr. Kendall Crowns joining us. He is a renowned chief medical examiner in Tarrant County. That's Fort Worth. If he skipped his daily meds, what would happen as a withdrawal, and is agitation a side effect of this particular drug?
So the answer is yes. Clonidine is used to treat ADHD and high blood pressure. When you stop taking it, you get rebound headaches, and you also get irritability, mood swings, agitation, and it kind of increasing in your ADHD symptoms coming back. So he may be having psychomotor disturbances, or like he can't sit still, or he can't control his thoughts, and thoughts are racing. And all that's going to be occurring during these 2 days and becoming worse the longer he's off the medication.
And any potential alcohol consumption is only gas on the fire. I've got another issue, and what we're talking about is no supervision of these teens. I want you to hear what the younger brother says happens the night Anna is murdered.
Anna's brother heard a heated argument between them in their cabin the night before Anna was found dead. He heard the stepbrother yelling at Anna, the sounds of furniture overturning, and screams from inside their room.
You heard him yelling at her, like in a harmful way, of like, shut the hell up and stuff like that. Like something was like banging around and stuff, and like the chairs were getting thrown around in the room.
Now, that is Anna Keaptainer's little ex-boyfriend, and he learned that information, obviously, from the younger brother. That's from our friends at Inside Edition. Let me understand, Susan Hendricks. I'm trying to figure out when the stepbrother, the little brother, the 14-year-old, is hearing chairs being thrown around and the 16-year-old yelling, shut the hell up, at Anna. When you hear a physical fight going on, the little 14-year-old brother is standing out in the hall listening, cowering, afraid. So while Anna, we believe, is getting bar-holed, asphyxiated in her own room, 10 feet across the way? I mean, the hallways are about 4 feet wide max. And they're in the next room over. Where were they? Asleep? Why couldn't he just knock on the door? What really happened? Why didn't they just walk across the hall and put an end to it?
Yeah, why didn't they hear that? And the 14-year-old, you're right, Nancy, why didn't he just knock on the door? By the way, the grandparents were one floor above. Could he run up there? Could he scream out for help? Nothing. Then he went back in and he didn't see Anna. Meanwhile, she's dead under the bed. How did she die? How did she literally slip through the cracks with her parents right across the hall? Even if they just heard that and didn't believe it from the ex-boyfriend that something went on, you knew that was in the back of your head, and you put them in a room together, unsupervised on a cruise. It's unforgivable.
Hi guys, American homeowners. The FBI has been warning about a type of real estate fraud called title theft, and your equity is the target. With just a forged signature, your ownership can be transferred out of your name, and without protection in place, you're left with an emotional and financial nightmare. That is why we partner with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim and protect yourself. Use promo code Nancy at HometitleLock.com to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, and if you're a victim of fraud, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Don't be a victim. Protect your home equity today. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Nancy, or just use the link below. And good luck. What does Anna Keaptainner, the teen cheerleader's biological mother, have to say about all of this? Listen.
You cheated on me with 24 other women, including Tabby. And then you married her after she turned 18. And I'm not okay with that. Mind you, I say that, but I'm not mad at Tabitha. Tabitha is a great person. She was a mother to my daughter when I couldn't be.
By the time Anna is 5, Christopher Keaptainner is having an affair with a teenage babysitter. When Tabitha Donahue turns 18, Chris marries her, and they have 2 children together. Heather has a hard time maintaining a relationship with Anna due to the bitter divorce with Chris.
That from @JustMom1984 TikTok. Joining me right now is the bio mom, the biological mother of Anna Keaptainner, the teen cheerleader, Sister Crystal Wright. Thank you for being with us, Miss Wright. How is the bio mom handling everything that she is learning about her daughter's death?
I think she's trying to keep it together. She's trying to do right for Anna and make sure that those that are accountable are held accountable.
What does she make of the fact there is no arrest yet?
She is beside herself, but at the same time, she's just trying to tell herself that it's because they want to make sure they get him properly charged and that his charge is able to uphold in court so that he does face his time.
To Heather's understanding, what has she been told? Certainly, law enforcement has briefed Anna Keaptainer's biological mother about what happened.
Yeah, no, Heather doesn't know anything. She finds out from the news. She just sits and waits for the news.
That is horrible. No one is speaking to her and telling her what happened to her daughter? Isn't it true, Crystal, that the bio mom, Heather Wright, had to sneak into her own daughter's memorial?
She did. Chris had told her that if she attempted to come, that he was going to have her arrested for back child support.
He never once tried to call me, get a hold of me, or anything when she died. I found out through Google.
From Wesh 2. That is heartbreaking. The biological mother, Heather Wright, has had nothing but trouble since her split with Christopher Keaptainner. Listen.
Christopher made it next to impossible for me to have a relationship with my daughter. He made it extremely hard for me to see her. He would ignore my phone calls, not tell Anna that I called, and then call like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, and Anna would be like, Mom, why haven't you called me? And I'm like, I've been calling you. You didn't get any of my voicemails? Your dad didn't let you listen to them? No, he said you haven't called.
Joining us, in addition to an all-star panel of experts, is the man who captured video of Anna Keaptainner, the teen cheerleader found stuffed dead. We still don't know whether she was clothed or unclothed, crammed under a bunk on a cruise line. There she is, obscured by life vests, and her body there for hours and hours before anyone even notices she's missing. Where were the parents, for Pete's sake? A guy named Nick Giddens was taking video on the cruise line of a big party the night before, a dance party. And here she is. There is Anna. So happy, so full of life, dancing in a line dance. It's hard to accept. She would be dead, her body decomposing on a cruise trip. Anna Keaptainner, The Last Dance video. Now that is from our new friend, Nick Capo. That's Nick Capo 609 on TikTok, and he's with us tonight. Nick, what happened? How did you manage to take that video?
So that was the Sailaway party. That's the party to get the cruise started when we start sailing away from port. It was in Port of Miami. And, just my family's also in the video too. I was recording them and just going around and panning around saying, showing everybody having a good time and stuff like that.
When you took the video, you had no idea that Anna Keaptainner would be murdered within hours. When did you realize the video that you took showed her, as it's called, last dance?
I posted the video that day, November 2nd, but it was after, everything happened and stuff like that, where somebody commented on the video, on the video, and they said that, like, oh my God, that's the girl that, that got killed. And then I went back and watched it, and then when I watched it, I seen her right there, and I seen the grandma and everything too. And that's when I changed it up a little bit and, put the stuff on there, and that's when I posted it or uploaded it again. There's actually two videos. Was the two songs playing is the YMCA song, and then there's the Cupid Shuffle song. I can't remember which one the grandpa was in, but one of them. I don't know. I don't even know what the stepbrother looked like, honestly. So I don't know if he was in the video or not.
And here she is in that second clip that Nick managed to video dancing, and it shows she's dancing with her grandparents. Let's look. You know what, Nick Giddens, I am so glad that you took that video and realized what it was and posted it, because it shows her, Anna Keaptainner, to me in a different light. I mean, really, just scrubbed in sunshine. There she is, dancing with her grandparents. It's just precious. Guys, you were seeing video taken, his handle is Nick Capo 609 on TikTok. Nick Giddens joining us tonight. Joseph Scott Morgan joining me, professor of forensics. You, as an expert, a forensic expert, a death investigator, has stated that the infantile way in which Anna's body was concealed could point directly to her killer. Explain yourself.
Yeah, of course, because this is something that was done spontaneously. If you think about the body covering, this is a matter of convenience. What do I have in arm's reach in order to conceal the body? And from the infantile perspective, you have deluded yourself, the perpetrator or whoever did this, the concealment that is, you have deluded yourself into thinking that, oh yeah, well, if I put her here, no one will ever find her. This is an event where somebody is trying to shield the body so they can get distance from the body.
I agree with everything that you just said, Joe Scott Morgan, but still, I need clarification. We often see, some of that video is from our friends at Mojo South on TikTok. When we're looking under the bed, when you say bunk, you may think of a bunk bed, one on top of the other. It's more like this in that particular cruise room. We are also learning tonight that video does exist. It's only been talked about or speculated upon in the past. Video does exist of Anna Keaptainner going alone to her room. Her braces were bothering her that night at dinner. She goes alone to her room. Video then reveals other family members, the younger brother and the older stepbrother, going into the room. Further video shows the little brother leaving the room alone and then wandering around the ship all by himself for the evening. But Anna doesn't leave the room, and the stepbrother doesn't leave the room for hours. In fact, Anna never leaves the room. To Michelle Spitzer joining us out of Melbourne, Florida, investigative reporter, USA Today, what can you tell us about the video?
In these court hearings that the stepbrothers' biological parents have had, they are the ones who have named their son as a suspect. And his biological mother actually said in text messages that were revealed in court documents. She sent a text message to her ex-husband saying, once the autopsy results are revealed, we will see if he is charged, which I think is very telling.
The stepbrother is innocent until proven guilty.
I got some news today on my daughter's case. They are going to charge her 16-year-old stepbrother for first-degree murder, and there's going to be some other charges brought, but I'm not sure what they are yet until they tell me. I don't know, so that is one of the charges, and as soon as I know more, I will let you guys know. Thanks for the support.
That is Anna Keaptainer's biological mother, Heather Wright, but then she posts this.
So I guess I was wrong with my update the other day. Apparently they didn't charge him with anything when he went to federal court, and so I'm not sure what that's all about. I also heard that he's being tried as a juvenile, not as an adult, which is up, because that boy knew what he was doing when he did it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know what I mean? So, everybody just pray for me. Pray for this, my daughter. Thank y'all for all the love and support. Love y'all.
That again was Anna Keaptainer's mother, Heather Wright, posting very, very upset. She can't quite seem to get to the bottom of what the charges are. Straight out to Sydney Sumner joining us, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Sydney, I think the confusion stems from the fact that it's all under wraps. It's sealed because it's juvenile records. But according to the stepfather, which is Anna Keaptainer's bio dad, and according to ABC and other outlets, charges have been filed against the stepbrother. What do we know? What do we really know other than we saw him going from juvenile court, let's see the video, from juvenile court to federal court where he would be charged if he's being charged as a Fed. This is from our friends at Fox 35 Orlando, by the way. That appears to be his public defender with him. So he's got his lawyer with him, and he's going to federal court where the whole thing started. This could be a matter of it's being handed over to state authorities to lodge charges. But what do we actually know, Sydney Sumner?
Well, right. Like you said, we know that Chris Keaptainner has commented that this teen stepbrother has been charged. We do not know what with. Keaptainner did not go that far. He mentioned charges, but did not get into the specifics of what those charges are. And we know that his relationship with Heather Wright, Anna's mom, is fraught with tension. They aren't on good terms. So the information that she's getting is not only secondhand, but also coming from the father. So whatever Chris Keaptainner is deciding to tell Heather Wright is what she's going off of. So yes, keeping all of these records under seal is leaving a lot to question right now.
Bombshell tonight, the stepbrother of a teen girl high school cheerleader killed on board a Carnival cruise ship last year has been officially charged with her murder, and he is being charged as an adult. Is it true, Sydney Sumner, that the documents reveal she was sex assaulted before she was strangled?
That's correct. Timothy Hudson is accused of sexually assaulting his older stepsister and then choking her to death to cover up that crime.
Anna Keaptainer's stepbrother now charged months and months after she was found dead on a cruise ship. He will be tried as an adult. Anna Keaptainer's dad says, I found her cold, naked body stuffed under a bunk. Her own dad pulls his daughter's dead body from under a bunk on the cruise line. Now he vows he will not sit through testimony. His mind, his heart, and his soul cannot go back to that room where his daughter was murdered. Robert Crispin joining us now, private investigator at Crispin Special Investigations. You hear what the dad is saying. He refuses to go back into that courtroom, to go into the courtroom and revisit that room again in his mind, his heart, his soul, where he found his daughter stuffed under a bed, cold to the touch and naked. Do you blame him?
Listen, I being a father, I don't want to ever have to deal with something like that. I don't blame him, but unfortunately, this is the federal government and this is a homicide investigation. And by hook or crook, he's going to have to testify and the government's going to have to put him on the stand. He's the one who found Anna dead. He's the first person back to her body to find her naked, wrapped in the blanket and covered in life jackets and finding her lifeless, cold, no pulse body. You don't get to not testify. I completely understand and I'm compassionate with him, but he is a major indicator of moving this case forward.
Robert, you've been there on location over and over and over, but this is what's happening right now. The perp is living in a residential home. He's not in jail. He's walking free. Now, this little girl, Anna Keaptainner, had been afraid of him for a really long time. Tonight, Crispin, we are learning that the little brother, the one that was banned from the room so Anna could be raped and killed, that little brother, we are now learning, Crispin, that there are reports the little brother went to the mom, the stepmom and the dad, and told them something's happening, something's wrong, and nobody did anything, Crispin. Nothing.
So if it's true, Nancy, and there is some banter that happened, and there is a superseding indictment that is potentially coming down the road, there were multiple indicators that we've learned through this story, Nancy, that this perpetrator, the killer, had a problem. And a lot of people knew that. You ever hear the term, see something, say something? That goes right down the line of what happened here.
You know, it's amazing to me the way this is playing out. He is still out free. She's dead. Isn't it true, Michelle Spitzer, that her high school graduation just happened and the dad, the bio dad, had to accept her diploma? What happened?
That's right, Nancy. Her dad did go up and accept her diploma on her behalf. It was a very emotional moment. He wore butterflies on his shirt in honor of his daughter. It's a very small private school. There's only about 20 kids in the graduating class. The valedictorian spoke about Anna, spoke about what she meant to the class, how much she is missed. There was no mention about the suspect there, and it was all focused on Anna and how much she is missed.
Michelle Spitzer, isn't it true that the siblings, this is from our friends at Good Morning America, isn't it true that the siblings set up her little senior table with all of her pictures and memorabilia?
Family members did set up this table to reminisce about Anna and remember her in the good times. Her family has said they want her to be remembered by the way she lived, not the way she died. And so there were a lot of good memories.
Everyone in this case, including the defendant, including the parents, are innocent in the eyes of the law unless and until the state pierces the presumption of innocence with facts and evidence to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. We wait as justice unfolds, but please know the state is building its case, as is the defense. If you know anything about this case, please dial 754-703-2000, 754-703-2000. We remember an American hero, Trooper Donald Brackett, Pennsylvania State Police, passed away in the line of duty after 17 years on the force, leaving behind his wife, now widow, Marta, and daughters Gabriella and Brianna. American hero, Trooper Donald Brackett. Thank you to our guests, but especially to you for being with us tonight. Nancy Grace signing off for tonight, but I'll see you tomorrow night. And until then, good night, friend. Hi, guys. Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides. And if you're on the go, please join us on your favorite podcast app where you can get all our content, where we, in our way, seek justice.